Hey guys, how you doing today? I hope you're having a great day. Um, Getting ready to make some blueberry muffins, and was got to thinking about some things. Also made a gingerbread banana bread, ginger banana bread. Uh, it's basically a gingerbread and a banana bread combined, right there. Looking very nice. Haven't tried it yet. Looking forward to trying it. Let you know how it turns out. But as I was getting ready to make these muffins, excuse me, I get blueberries. I'm gonna work while I talk to you. They, I saw something earlier on uh, on the PBS NewsHour. It was a bit on the homeless in the U.S. and how some of them are homeless now because of the pandemic, things being shut down. Um, some other things were, they were felons who now can't get a job of any kind, which I don't understand why most businesses, with the exception of maybe a few, I mean, I could understand not wanting to hire a former bank robber at a bank, but I really think 99% of all businesses should be second chance businesses. I know the company I work for is a second chance company, and if they were truly horrible, horrible people, they would be in prison for life anyhow. Murderers don't usually get out soon. Um, but it got me leading to think to something else. First, I had thought of why not start a town instead of homeless camps? Why not take? I saw somebody, I believe it was in California, had 7 acres that they had turned into basically a homeless camp for the homeless, but it also allowed them a little more stability in the process. But why not buy up a abandoned city block that may have a hotel on it or office buildings, and have your homeless people start out by in your town start out by maybe funding the rehabilitation of one building, a larger building that could turn into apartments, where then that way they have a place to sleep, and they build it themselves, where then you go on to pay them to maybe build a restaurant next door or a dry cleaners next door, and basically start a town where the initial investment might be quite a bit, but the long term gain on it could be a lot. I mean, you would basically be helping to start a town or a municipal township or whatever. I mean, I think it could work. Not that I've put a ton of thought into it, because it was something I was just thinking about an hour or so ago. Although I'm sure I could lay out a plan for it. That being said, where do you get the money to start with? Well, you uh, look at somebody like maybe Jeff Bezos to donate a couple $1 billion to start it. That way you can supplement the income of a general contractor, or do you take somebody that's learned that trade in the prison system and have them do it with the overseer of somebody from the company, or something to that extent. Sorry, like I said, I'm getting ready to make muffins also. Um, so you've got that to think about, but then where do you get the money from? You could go out and try to raise it, but we see that's a never-ending process. But then it hit me, and this is an actual number. This year in 2020 alone, for all elections, including the presidential, which was a majority of it, both sides, Democratic and Republican, all the way down into state and city, elections cost this country 14 billion dollars. 14 billion. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. I remember when I had heard, I don't even remember now what president it was. It might have been Bill Clinton, but and it might even have been right before that, with Bush Senior. But they had only spent like $2 or $3 million in advertising, and that was a majority of their campaign fund. I think either way, spending, and that's double what we spent in 2016. So we spent $7 billion in 2016. So in in 4 years, we spent $21 billion on trying to figure out who we wanted in office. That's just, like I said, it's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Is it really that necessary? Especially now in the 2020 election campaign. You don't have to hold mega rallies in every state. You can do it online. You can do it on YouTube. There's no reason why you can't. Is there really a need to travel all over the U.S. anymore and speak in person? I don't think so. And even if there was, is there a need to run an advertisement on the TV every 15 minutes for months on end? I mean, you spend millions and millions, almost probably $1 billion just in advertising revenue for just the 2 campaigns for president, let alone all the senators, congressmen, and whatnots that came below that. I don't think that's necessary. So even if, let's say we cut it all back and the presidential election campaign this year for 2020, they spent $6 billion. All right. The remaining, $6.6 billion. The remaining was everybody else. So let's say we don't spend $6.6 billion trying to decide who we want to put into office 4 years from now. And instead we allow the Democratic Committee and the GOP to maybe, or we tell them to. I mean, it's our money, essentially. We're the taxpayers. We put them into office. We decide how this works. So maybe we take that money and instead of spending $6.6 billion plus next time in 4 years for 2024, we cap it. Or we say, yeah, go ahead and raise that much money, but you're only allowed to spend $3 billion total. And the other $6.6 billion or whatever has to go to infrastructure, has to go to helping the homeless, has to go to drug addiction. And you set that precedence for every election, state, local, and federal down the pike. Maybe, we can build a better school system. That's a lot of money to play with. Instead of maybe completely, I'm not against raising our taxes. I understand the need for raising taxes. Inflation is a real thing. But the thought of you have to raise my taxes or charge me more down the road for something, or I have to watch some mother struggle out on the streets of the courthouse here in my town who's homeless, can't catch a break, and nobody will help her government-wise other than the food pantry and the homeless shelter. That doesn't fix it. A homeless shelter is a Band-Aid. It's not a fix to the problem. We have resources to help her, but when your system's so overwhelmed, in this instance, if the system's so overwhelmed and needs help to be able to hire more people to make this right, whether the circumstances are her fault or not her fault, or their fault or not their fault. And there's a lot of families out there too. I see it on my street every day. I see homeless people walking up and down the street. I see addicts breaking into empty houses to have a place to sleep. I see stuff being stolen off of porches from people's Ring cameras, because they need to make money to eat. And it's not for, even if they could get a job, let's be honest, getting a job anywhere in a small town does not pay enough to be able to support any kind of life. In order to support yourself, this is just yourself, you need to make at least $22 an hour, and that's just to pay your rent, pay your car payment, pay your car insurance. This is a statistic. You can look it up online. You need to make at least $22 an hour to make ends meet. And that's not going shopping at the high-end department stores. That's just going to Walmart to buy your groceries and maybe a little something extra. That's maybe going to the movies once a month. We've got our priorities wrong. When we can spend $14 billion to elect officials into office, and yet we can't barely make it ourselves, there's a problem. I'm not saying give handouts, but everybody falls every once in a while, or at least stumbles. And a good person, when he sees somebody stumbling, they stop to help them. They run over and they grab it and go, whoa, 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 whoa. Or if they do see them fall, they pick them up, they dust them off, and they help them on their way. They make sure they're okay first, and we're not doing that. I think we spend a majority of our time picking them up or maybe trying to think about stopping to help them fall, but we just let them fall and then we move on. And I'm not talking about the guys that you see on the street corners or in the middle of the streets that are wearing brand new Nikes, and a really nice gooseneck jacket because it's cold outside, saying, we'll work for food or looking for a handout. I'm talking about the true mom, single person, Vietnam veteran, or veteran of any war for that matter, who is truly struggling. Let's get our priorities straight. I hate to rant. I didn't want to make this channel the way I'm turning it out to be, talking about research or facts and things like that. But these are the things that bug me. And one of the purposes of my channel is if something were to happen to me tomorrow, in my old age, I want my grandkids and my great grandkids to know what I stood for. And these are one of the principles and things I stand for. It goes right up there with doing things right, not half-assing it, being a good neighbor. I'd like to think I'm as good a neighbor to my neighbors as they are to me. I talk to them on a daily basis. I say hi to them. If they need something, I'm there in a pinch, even if it's in a pinch, even if I got to drop what I'm doing right away, I help them out. If I see somebody who's struggling on the street, I will stop and help them. Because that's what good people do. And we've lost that way. And you can see that by the fact we've got homeless people on our streets still, and we're spending $14 billion to elect people into office. Our priorities are wrong. Right up there with the price of milk. Let's talk about that for a second. I'm really on a tear at the moment. I pay $2.60 a gallon for milk, which you wouldn't think is horrible. It cost me like maybe $5.20 a week, I think, total, to make sure I got milk for my family to drink and to cook with. But why is it so expensive when I know for a fact at the beginning, mid-year, we dumped millions of gallons of fresh milk that wasn't being sold or used? Why didn't we send that to the homeless? Same with cheese. We did the same thing with cheese. If we have such a surplus of things, why are we just getting rid of them, letting them go to waste? Why are we not making use of it? That banana bread I made today, which I'm going to make another type here probably after I make these muffins, I'm doing it so my bananas don't go to waste. My mother-in-law had brought us over 5 bananas. Well, with 5 bananas, I could make 2 loaves of banana bread. They were brown. She wasn't going to eat them in time. She knew that I would make something out of that. And when I get done making these, I will send her over some bread to eat. I will share the wealth. That's the way it's supposed to work. I think people are forgetting that. So anyhow, that's all I wanted to rant about. Something to think about. We could change the world if we just changed the way we're doing things. Thank you for listening. I hope you get this, but I had to get it all off my chest because it's been eating me alive for like the last hour and a half. All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.